What did the nose say to the finger?
I don't know. What?
Stop picking on me.
It's time for the Children's Hour.
If you can't fly, what can you do?
Run! If you can't run,
What can you do?
walk!
If you can't walk,
What can you do? Crawl!
if you can't crawl,
What can you do?
Roll! Whatever it is,
we got to keep it moving. Rise.
Change will not come if we wait for some other person, or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek.
I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Gonna be the change in the world we all gotta see. Yes, I fall down time and time again. I fall down time and time again. I fall down, but still I rise. Rise, rise, rise. Still I rise.
People say amazing things, people do amazing things, people are amazing beings, you are what amazing is. People say amazing things, people do amazing things, people are amazing beings, you are what amazing is.
America is black. It is native.
It wears the hijab. It is a Spanish-speaking tongue. It is migrant.
It is a woman.
It is here.
It is here.
Has been here.
And it's not going anywhere.
You are born to touch the sky. You are here to live that life. Dream high, dream with all your mind. 'Cause you are born to touch the
You may cut me with your words, you may cut
sky.
me with your eyes, you may hurt me with your hatefulness, nonetheless, still I rise.
You may hit me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may hurt me with your hatefulness, nonetheless, just like air, still I rise.
If they call us bad names, look them in the eye. If they push us down, be a true ally. If they try to build a wall, we won't comply. 'Cause when they go low,
We go high. 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 They go low. We go high. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, roll.
People say amazing things, people do amazing things, people are amazing beings, you are what amazing is.
If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, roll.
People say amazing things, people do amazing things, people are amazing beings, you are what amazing is.
You are born to touch the sky. You are here to live that life. Dream high, dream with all your mind. 'Cause you are born to touch the sky. You are born to touch the sky. You are here to live that life. Dream high, dream with all your mind. 'Cause you are born to touch the sky.
you may get me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes. I rise. Hurt me with your hatefulness. I rise. You may get me with your words. I rise.
That is the Alphabet Rockers from a 2018 release, Rise, Shine, Woke. And that's Rise, the title track. And this is the Children's Hour radio show. You are tuned to KUNM in New Mexico, or maybe you're listening online at KUNM.org or at childrenshour.org. We're streaming it both places. And hello, this is Katie Stone. I'm here with a whole lot of people. Hello, everybody. Hi. Hi. Oh. Perhaps have your microphones on. Hello. Hello. Let's start over here. Hi.
Hi, I'm Anna.
Hi, I'm Illy. Hi, I'm Elias.
Hi, I'm Amadeus.
Hi, I'm Zen.
Hi, I'm Representative Liz Thomson.
Hi, I'm Vicente. Hi, I'm Diego.
Hi, I'm Riley.
Hi, I'm Giselle.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Children's Hour. We've got the Wild Friends. You're Wild Friends, yeah? Are you Wild Friends? They're nodding. Nodding never works in radio. Nodding, that's yes. We have Wild Friends in here, and I promise we're keeping it slightly less wild. Mark is up here back at my board. Hi, Mark. Nice to see you.
Hi, good to be back.
Great to have you back. Well, everyone, how's everyone? Any news in the studio? Any big news going on in anybody's world? Nothing? Everybody's kind of mellow. School's back in session. It's January. It's cold. I don't know if it's cold where you are. It's cold here. Well, we are talking today on the show about state government and the New Mexico legislature. And I'm just curious with the kids in the room. I know, Wild Friends, you've had specific training as to what's about to happen with the legislature. But the legislative session here in the state of New Mexico starts next week. In some states, it's year-round. And maybe someday we'll rise to that. But, you know, our session is kind of short. It's only 60 days long. And a lot of stuff happens at the state legislature. Have you all been ever up to the state legislature, my crew? Anybody?
I don't think so.
Yeah, go ahead, Elias. Yeah, come to your mic.
I'm pretty sure I have. I think my mom took me there.
Neat. Anna, you've been up there? Yeah?
I think so, for like an educational day or something.
So I hear you all say, I think so, maybe, I think so. I take it didn't have that much of an impact when you were there. It probably seemed kind of crowded and busy. Boring, maybe, Elias? Was it kind of boring? Here, come to your mic here.
Yes.
It was boring?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of people talking and talking and
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
Yakety, yakety, yakety. But actually, you know what? They're talking about the things that govern us, our laws, and how our money is going to be spent in our state. And we're going to learn a lot more about that from Representative Liz Thomson, who has so kindly joined us today in the studio. And then we're going to find out what our friends here in the Wild Friends of New Mexico, they have an actual bill they're presenting. And we want to know more about that and the process of how it gets from here to there and how you thought of this bill. So there's a lot to talk about. We're going to learn about state government on the Children's Hour. Stick with us. This is MC Yogi from a CD called Elephant Powered Remixes.
Dedicated to all spiritual activists, truth seekers, and peaceful warriors worldwide. Be the change. Once upon a time, not long ago, there was a boy who would grow and become a great soul. He lived in India, and his name was Gandhi. He believed in human rights, and he fought for equality. He felt so strongly that he trained himself, cause he realized first he'd have to change himself. He changed his clothes and decided to walk. Some days he practiced silence and refused to talk. When he was young, he studied to be a lawyer, and then he became a great spiritual warrior. He read from the scriptures of every religion, came to the realization that we're all God's children. Because he understood that we're all equal, he became a spokesman for the people. A karma yogi devoted to service, to spread truth and peace was his purpose. You gotta be the change that you wanna see in the world. Be the change, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi. Gandhi dedicated his life to the cause, even when it meant breaking unjust laws. He often faced prison and incarceration, but that only strengthened his determination. He said he would make make every sacrifice, but that he would never kill or take a life. He used his heart instead of his fist, and he taught non-violence as the way to resist. A peaceful soldier who used his mind to fight for the rights of humankind, but not just people, animals too. In his basic teaching, God is truth. He joined Muslims, Sikhs, and Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, Jains, and Jews. All the many paths that lead into the light that shines bright inside of me and you. You gotta be the change that you wanna see in the world. The change, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world. Be the change, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi. Gandhi taught an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, and it takes more strength and faith to be kind. With that in mind, Gandhi took a stand against the foreign occupation of his land. When things got violent, Gandhi would fast, not eating for days until the riots would pass. But the biggest event that made the British halt is when Gandhiji decided to harvest all. The British Empire installed a salt tax, and stealing salt was an unlawful act. So Gandhi and his peeps took to the streets, 10,000 deep, they marched to the beach. But when they arrived, they were beaten with clubs, but they didn't fight back, instead they chose love. The foreign military realized they were wrong and eventually decided to go back home. You see, Gandhiji was a very great leader, but before all that, he was shy and meager. As a young child, he was just like you and me, before he became Mahatma Gandhi. The word Mahatma, it means great soul, and it's inside of us, just waiting to unfold. If you follow your heart and act real bold, next time it'll be your story that's told. You gotta be the change that you wanna see in the world. Be the change, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world. Be the change, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world. Be the change, just like Gandhi. Be the change that you wanna see in the world, just like Gandhi. Just like Gandhi.
Be the change that you want to see. That's MC Yogi from a CD called Elephant Powered Remixes. You're tuned to the Children's Hour, and we're broadcasting live from the University of New Mexico and from KUNM FM. We're streaming live on childrenshour.org. Welcome to Representative Liz Thomson. She's a representative for what district?
House District 24.
Great. We have lots of questions for you. As you might have heard at the beginning of the show, really no one here knows what you do or what happens at the legislature. So let's start right in over here with Mr. Zen. Yeah, go for it.
What happens at the legislature?
A lot happens at the legislature. We make laws, and we spend our state's money. We fund public education, so all the schools, the universities. We fund hospitals and roads, and we make laws that we hope will make people's lives better.
What do you do as a representative?
That's a really good question. I could sit here all day and talk about it. The first thing you have to do is get elected. So I have a district that's in the Northeast Heights of Albuquerque, and every 2 years there's an election. And for that, I have to raise money to have commercials and to send out mailers. And I go and I knock on doors. I knock on thousands of doors in my district and talk to the people that I work for, who are the voters. And then once I'm elected, I can make laws. I represent the people that voted for me, but I represent all New Mexicans. And I figure that whatever I do, if it's good for the people in my district, it's probably good for all of New Mexico. So I I work on legislation. Frequently, people will call me up and say, can we meet for coffee? And I don't drink coffee, I drink iced tea, but I meet with people all the time. I had 3 meetings yesterday with people who wanted to talk with me. So let's say someone comes to me and says, my kids, or as kids, they come to me and say, you know what, they're trying to take our recess away, and we think we do better in school if we get a chance to go out and play on the playground, which I think is really, really important. I'm a pediatric physical therapist. I work with kids with disabilities. So someone comes to me with that idea, and I say, you know what, I think that's a really good idea. Let's work on it together. So we've got something called the Legislative Council, which is a bunch of attorneys, a bunch of lawyers, and I will just go to them and say, you know what, I want to make sure that every kid in New Mexico gets 1 hour a day of recess. And so they will write out a bill. It's called a bill, what we propose, and it has all kinds of numbers and all kinds of things that tell us where in state law that would work. And they write up this bill, and then when our legislative session starts, it's introduced. It's called dropped in our state, where I turn it in, it gets a number, and then the speaker, I'm in the House of Representatives. There's also a Senate. So our leader is called the Speaker of the House, and his name is Brian Egolf. So after the bills get turned in, he decides, with the help of some other people, what committees that it will go to. So, and I sit on 2 committees. Right now I'm on Appropriations, which is the committee that decides what we do with money. And I'm also the vice chair on the Health and Human Services Committee in the House. So the speaker will generally send a bill to 2 committees, and then it will go to the first committee, and the committee is a smaller group of representatives. Our committees range in size from 5 people to 18 people, I think is the largest one we have. And it will go before a committee, and we can ask questions. Frequently, the sponsor of the bill, the representative, will have an expert witness, and I love having kids as expert witnesses. So I would have maybe the person who came to me with the bill sit next to me, and my colleagues who are on the committee will ask questions, and then they will vote whether they like the idea or whether they don't. And if they like it, but there's something that they don't like, they say, well, an hour's too much, let's give them 45 minutes. So we can do something called an amendment, which changes what the bill says. And then they vote on the bill, they vote on the amendment, and then it gets it's called reported back on the floor of the House, which is where all of us are together. That's the big group where all 70 of us are together. And then the committee chair says, we voted that we like this. And then the whole body says, okay, that's good with us. And then it goes on to the next committee, and the process is repeated, and then it comes back to the floor. And then eventually all of us vote on it. And we've got a board up on the side of the wall that where we push a button and it says yes or no, basically. When the bill is introduced on the floor, we can also push a button to ask a question. So there's a whole process of how you do things. But eventually it comes to a vote. And an interesting thing about the House, as opposed to the Senate, we have a 3-hour limit on debate. So once 3 hours are up, even if people still have questions, we vote. They don't do that in the Senate. So it gets voted on, it passes, everyone loves the idea, and then it goes over to the Senate and goes through basically the same process. So I do that during the 60 days. We have what are called interim committees, because 60 days is just too short to deal with everything that we deal with. So when we're not meeting in Santa Fe, we have committees around the state, a variety of committees, and we get to hear more in depth. I meet with constituents. I meet with people who like my bills or hate my bills, who like what I'm doing. So it's a year-round job, and we are the only unpaid legislature in the country. And we also don't have any staff. So if you call the number that's on my business card, you get me, because we don't have staff except during session.
Well, why are we the only state that has that, with not having a paid representative?
That's really a good question. A few times it's been tried through the legislative process to get pay for representatives and senators. It just hasn't worked yet. In some ways, it's a good thing, I think, in that obviously we're not there for the money, since there is no money, but it kind of determines who can run for office, which I don't think is the greatest thing. I mean, if you're a working person, it's really hard to take a month or 2 months off of your job and not get paid. So I wish that we got paid so that more people, teachers, nurses, stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads, mechanics can all run for office and serve, but we're not at that point yet.
It seems like if you're unpaid too, you'd open up the risk of someone paying you quietly to run for office.
Well, that's
like
a risk.
Secretly.
Yes, secretly. I don't know that that's happened, but I can imagine it's tempting for some people.
I bet.
When you were a child, did you always want to be a representative?
I didn't. When I was in third grade, I remember I came to Santa Fe. I grew up in Crown Point, New Mexico, and we came to Santa Fe, and I was a page, which is something that all of you can do. And what that means is you sit at the front, and we have another button we push, and a light lights up, and we might ask you to go get us a soda we have like a snack bar, or please take this over to the Senate. Or so you do running around work for us. So that's something that I'd encourage all of you to do, to become pages. And we've had them as young as kindergarten.
You do that by contacting your representative.
Yes, you can do it that way. Yes, or any, if you can contact me. I'd love to sponsor you. I was thrilled, and I remembered that day for a long time, but I never really thought of myself as getting into politics. But then I had a son with a significant disability. My son has severe autism, and that's how I know Katie. We are autism moms together. We served on the New Mexico Autism Society board together for years. But as I started trying to advocate for my son and for the kids that I worked with, I realized that our system really wasn't set up to do great things for kids like my kid and like Katie's kid. So I looked around and said, someone in Santa Fe needs to be doing this work. And no one raised their hand, and I said, okay, I will do it. So that's why I'm there, and I love it. I'm glad I got into it. But frequently our life circumstances kind of choose our path for us, and I'm glad that it did.
Is it boring for you, Representative Thomson?
Sometimes it's boring. I have to be perfectly honest. Frequently it's very exciting, but when people, sometimes there's something called filibustering where people just talk to kill time, and that can get really, really boring.
Yikes, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, it is. But I'm glad that I'm in the House, because we can only go on for 3 hours with that. In the Senate, they can go on forever and ever and ever. They don't go on forever, but I'm glad you can watch your watch and say, okay, 3 hours are almost up. I can take this.
So I have a question about you. You describe this process and how many committees each bill has to go through. And, somebody has an idea, they draft a bill, it goes through you maybe get approved to get even to the level of going to committees, and then it goes to these committees, and then it repeats the whole thing on the other side. And I was reading that there are hundreds of bills that have been introduced already, right?
Yes.
And so you only have 60 days, and I'm not that great at math in my head, but I'm trying to envision how you spend that much time on so many hundreds of bills.
It's a tough thing to do, and this year, actually, I've heard anywhere from 2,000 to 6,000 bills this year. I'm hoping it's not 6,000, just because my brain cannot possibly and we have great people around us. I mean, you can imagine, some of these bills are 170, 200, 300 pages, and it's really hard to read all that and understand all that. So we have analysts who do that work for us. I mean, they kind of write a synopsis for us, a short, few pages. And then there's something called the fiscal impact report that talks about how much it will cost. And even things that don't look like they cost money may cost money, like I talked about before, the recess thing. So if people say, well, we need more time in classroom, and I'm saying, well, we need more recess time, then we may need to think about making our school day longer, which means that we'd have to pay our teachers more. So even if there's not money in the bill, sometimes there is a financial cost.
I'm trying to do this math, and if you have 2,000 bills, you basically get to spend, I think, less than 90 seconds on each bill. Sorry to tell you that. It's really short.
Sometimes it goes that way. And we do the best that we can. And a lot of times, as you can imagine, time just runs out. I mean, you have a great bill. Maybe you didn't get it introduced right away. You didn't come up with the idea, or somebody halfway through the session. I believe about halfway through the session, we can no longer introduce bills. So I think that's around February 14th this year. I'm not sure of the date. And bills just run out of time. There's just so many hours in the day, and we don't work a 9 to 5 schedule. I mean, frequently we're there at 7 o'clock in the morning, and frequently we're there at 1 o'clock in the morning for the same day.
Do you have to go live in Santa Fe for those 60 days? Is that what people tend to do?
That's what people tend to do. Some people in Albuquerque and Los Alamos and places like that go back and forth. Like I said, I serve on the Appropriations Committee, and we frequently met. We frequently met till 10, 11 midnight. And so to drive back and forth between Albuquerque, when I first started, I thought I can have 2 hours driving every day or 2 extra hours of sleep, and I chose the sleep.
I don't blame you. You have bills that you're carrying this year that directly impact kids. Do you want to just briefly talk about a few of those?
Well, I have several that are around kids and adults with autism. Things like making sure that they get the services that they get. There's something called the Developmental Disabilities Waiver, where if you have a disability, you get extra services. And right now, the waiting list for that bill is 13 years. So if your child is born with a disability, let's say Down syndrome, that they know right away, sometimes even before the child is born, you get on this list and you wait for 13 years. And nobody waits for 13. I mean, you can almost pay off your house on a 15-year loan in 13 years. So that's something I'm working on. I'm working to fully fund the school-based health centers so that kids of all ages who are in school have a place where they can go at school to get treatment. And that's for physical stuff like a cold, but it's also for behavioral health, like if they think that they're feeling blue or they're depressed or things like that. And it's not up yet, but I'm supposed to be carrying a bill to have kids at all levels learn about behavioral health, learn about what depression is, learn about, and this came from a group of students at El Dorado High School after one of their classmates killed himself.
Oh, that's so sad.
And he had, from what the kids told me, he had tried earlier and been unsuccessful, but he didn't know who to call. And so we want to teach kids for themselves and for their friends, if someone is in having a hard time, they have someone to call so that we don't end up with kids committing suicide, that we have kids getting the help that they need.
Are you really doing a bill that will make recess an hour long?
I am not.
That
was just
so too bad.
I would love to. I know that that's something that we've talked about quite a bit, is to make, because that's what when kids aren't doing great, or when we as a state aren't doing great at educating our kids, people say they need more time in the classroom, they need more time in the classroom. And I say, no, they don't. They need time to move so that when they're in the classroom, they are focused and they're not antsy. So that's something that we've been talking about for a long time. We're not quite there in terms of doing a bill, but I think that's a really important thing to do. PE and recess and art and music, all those things that help us to be a more fully rounded person.
Representative Elizabeth Thomson, as a state representative here in the state of New Mexico. Our legislative session starts next week. It runs 60 days. I know you're also doing a bill with these kids who are in the room right now, the Wild Friends of New Mexico, and we're going to come back with them in just a minute.
You're listening to the Children's Hour.
We'll be right back.
Supporting our community means a lot to Albuquerque-based Kay and Molly Textiles, which is why they're proud to support the Children's Hour podcasts. Their print studio is committed to creating great jobs that include health and education benefits, leadership development, and flexible hours for new immigrants and refugees in Albuquerque. Find their hand-printed towels at their retail store or in a store near you nationwide. Find out more at kayandmolly.com. That's KEI and Molly.com. The Children's Hour podcast is made possible in part by Meow Wolf. Meow Wolf, your portal to the multiverse. Meow Wolf proudly supports the Children's Hour Incorporated. You are tuned to the Children's Hour, broadcasting live at childrenshour.org and on KUNM-FM here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're talking about state government. We are not the federal government. So Representative Elizabeth Thomson is here, and you are not the reason we have a government shutdown in the present moment.
No, I'm not. If I could wave my magic wand and make it go away in Washington, I would, but I don't have that power. We have nothing to do with that in Santa Fe.
That's great. That's good. And that doesn't happen here. We don't have Santa State government shutdowns, do we? Has that ever happened that you know of?
Not that I know of, and let's not throw any bad things out there, and somebody might think about it.
I think it's a really bad idea. Well, we are broadcasting live, and it is our pleasure to have the kids, some of the kids, because there's a whole lot of them, in Wild Friends of New Mexico. And in the studio with us, we have Vicente, Diego, Riley, Giselle, and Jocelyn, and you're all from South Valley Academy and Rio Rancho Middle School. Welcome to the Children's Hour. Hello.
Hi.
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 Hi. First of all, Diego, what is Wild Friends New Mexico?
Wild Friends is a group with over 400 students around New Mexico, and we pretty much just work on, right now we're here helping like pollinators and how we should create a bill to help, I guess, protect them.
Tell us about this bill. What's this idea that you have?
The bill is to create a license plate, which is worth $25. Then the money will help go to putting more pollinator-friendly plants to help get more pollinators into here, because we have a lot more.
So how does the money go from buying a license plate into the plants?
Well, when you get the license plate, the money that goes to that license plate will go to the city, and the city will pay for more plants to put around like highways and places like that are more pollinator friendly. The New Mexico Department of Transportation.
Oh, and so they are the ones who landscape all those medians that are on the highways and the side of the highways. And so this is a pretty brilliant idea. So you would be saying that you buy this license plate, you have a cool looking license plate, but also the license plate money will actually buy pollinator friendly plants. That's, I guess, not being done already. They're not planting pollinator friendly plants, I guess, huh? Yes. Wow. That's, who knew? So why do we want to do this? Why do we want to have pollinator? Yeah, please.
We want to, I guess, plant more pollinator-friendly plants because they make up over 235 billion and 570 billion worth of yearly global food production.
And they are also needed for 90% of wild flowering plants and 1/3 of our food crops.
That's really something. So what happens now, your bill? You're from different schools, and you're from Rio Rancho Middle School. And so how do you guys get together and work on this?
Well, we all have to decide the topic, and then we decide to do something about it. Because when you decide to do something about it, you can actually just change the world without even trying too hard and just go straight to it.
I really like that. How did you decide upon this particular topic?
Well, over 400 students from around New Mexico all came together, or not together, but we all voted inside of our own respective schools.
Wow, really? That's pretty cool. And you decided on pollinators who are at risk. So what happens now with the Wild Friends? What do you all have to do from here?
Well, it's the bill is passed on to the Senate, and it's now Senate Bill 234, which what we need now is just people to vote for it so it could pass on to the next step.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, and now you all are going to go, as Representative Thomson was explaining, the bill gets introduced. You hope that on the House side, so it's a Senate bill, you just said, so it starts on the Senate side. So then you hope the Senate, would that be, Representative Thomson, would that be the Senate Majority Leader then decides, is that the same role as Representative Egolf has?
There's the Senate Majority Leader, and there's also the Senate Pro Tem, and they work together to decide which bills go to which committees.
And so you get through that, and then you go to committees. Now, are you actually going to, in person, show up to these committees? And are you the experts that Representative Thomson was talking about who sit next to the representative? Is that how it works? Yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have heard the Wild Friends before in Santa Fe, and they really know their stuff. They are great expert witnesses. and I can't wait. I'm going to be the House sponsor. So once it gets through the Senate, then someone in the House picks it up, and I will be the House sponsor. And so I will have the pleasure of having some of the Wild Friends with me in committees, and I will say what the bill is real quickly, and then the students can talk about it a little bit, and then members of the committee will ask them questions, and I'm going to let them answer all the questions because they're the smart ones on this.
I love it. I love it. And so you all will actually go up there. I have seen Wild Friends up in New Mexico, and I have seen them. You all wear matching T-shirts, and you really stand out when you come because there's a lot of you. How many kids are in Wild Friends? So, do you know?
Around 400.
Whoa. Seriously? 400? Wow. I have not seen all of the Wild Friends at once. I've seen like 75 at a time. So you go like one school at a time? Is that how it works? As a field trip kind of thing?
I guess near that.
And then do you have to do the behind-the-scenes work too, like walking up to each individual legislator and trying to convince them to support your bill?
Yeah.
Are you excited about that?
Well, yeah, kind of. It's
Yeah.
It's a bit nerve-wracking, though.
Yeah, why is that?
I guess more of like a meeting people that I guess there's some of the people that have created laws, and they could also choose to not want to make that law and completely end it right there.
Yeah. I've been in a committee once when the Wild Friends of New Mexico a couple years ago, their bill went down in the committee, and it was like a balloon popping, and it really felt like you were just looking at a whole table full of Grinches that voted against it. It was like, if you ever wondered what the Grinch looks like, go to a committee where they vote down the Wild Friends of New Mexico, because always you all come up with such great ideas for bills. So are you prepared? Are you ready? Do you want to tell us any of your spiel you're going to tell the folks on the committees? What are you going to tell us? That why should we do this bill? Why should people support this bill? And oh, by the way, listeners who are listening, they can write their representatives and ask them to support this bill. And so again, tell us the name of the Senate bill. Did you say 234?
Yes.
Senate Bill 234. And if you don't know who your representative is, in the state of New Mexico, every state has a website that allows you to enter your address and find your representatives. And here in the state of New Mexico, it's nmlegis, legis.gov. Great tools there to find this bill. You can read the bill. You can see where the bill's going to go, all the committees. And it really does help to write those committee members even just a quick email and say, I really like this bill. This is a great idea. And I cannot imagine how this would not succeed.
I'm hoping that it will succeed. We kind of have a running joke in the legislature about license plates. We've done a lot of license plates, and every time anybody introduces a bill to do a new license plate, everybody says, "This is the last one, right?" And it never is. We did our chili bill last year, our chili license plate bill last year, because we heard Colorado was trying to do a chili license plate bill, and we said Colorado is not the chili capital.
They can't
so
have
I had a colleague who put an emergency clause on it so that we could beat Colorado in getting a chili license plate.
I love it. I love it. So your bill's going to come, and what are you going to say at a committee? What are you going to say? What are you going to say? Riley, what are you going to say when you get to the committee? If you had to say one thing that would convince these representatives that this is a good idea.
I would say that pollinators, we really depend on them because they do make up 90% of like food and flowers, and then 1/3 of our food. So without them, we kind of be struggling. And then if we do that by ourselves, we just don't make it all that natural. And then that just doesn't make it healthy, basically.
Love it. Yeah. Any other selling points on this bill? Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
We also have over 1,000 native pollinators here.
To New Mexico.
Yeah, that's more than 1/4 of what the U.S. has.
Wow. I did not know that. So many in just our state. And so to save them, we really need these plants. Plus, they're beautiful. It can't harm anything to have beautiful medians, right? It doesn't do any damage. And And does the Department of Transportation and the state of New Mexico, are they excited about this bill with you? Are they in favor of it?
Yes, they are in favor of it.
Well, that helps. There. You have adults in the room here. I don't know that they need to say anything unless they want to. No? Yeah, they're fine. They're like, forget it. These kids have it covered. Well, we want to wish you the very best of luck with Senate Bill 234. So that's what it is, right?
Right.
234. How hard could that be to remember? In the New Mexico legislature, we can all write a little note to our representatives and say, this is a great idea, because it really is a great idea. And I want to thank you for taking the time to do this. You personally could be responsible for saving bees and in our state. And wouldn't that be a wonderful feeling to do? Yeah? Nodding. Yes. They say yes. Representative Elizabeth Thomson, thank you so much for being with us on the Children's Hour.
Thank you, Katie, and thank you, Wild Friends, for all your work. I can't wait to work with you.
Yeah. Thanks, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is the Earthworm Ensemble.
Bees make honey and cross-pollination, feeding on the nectar from a flowery meadow. They gather up the pollen on their tummies and their feet. It falls in the field for a flowery yield. Yield. Flowery yield. Here come the worker bees, back from the meadow, filling up the honeycomb with the flowery nectar. They hover over honeycomb, flapping their wings, drying out the nectar, make it big and sweet. Honey, honey, flowery honey.
Stand up, stand up. The world belongs to you. You, the youth, the future of tomorrow. So what are you gonna do with it? Decide right now, today, that you're gonna make something of yourself. It's time to stand and be counted. Tomorrow is here, tell me what will be. It's a new generation, let's rewrite history. Young people have the power to do something great. The chance to change the world before it's too late. Stand and be counted, starting today. Don't follow the crowd, just go your own way. The future needs leaders, why can't one be you? Reach for the stars, your dreams can come true. It's time to stand.
Stand and be counted.
The future's yours. It's time to stand.
Stand and be counted.
See the day, it's yours. Listen to the wind. The ancestors are calling you back. Calling you back. Keep the traditions alive. Take pride in your people, take pride in yourself. For you're not inferior to anyone else. The future of the world is right at your feet. Will you make a difference or will history repeat? Stand and be counted, starting right now. If we all jump together, we'll have the know-how. It's time for a change, it's time to be free. It's time to work together, it's time for unity. It's time to stand.
Stand and be counted.
The future's yours. It's time to stand.
Stand and be counted.
See the day, it's yours. Believe in yourself. Nothing's impossible. Out there is the next Jim Thorpe or next Mary Crowdon. Believe in yourself. Suicide, homeless, AIDS, alcoholism. There are many problems that will face the youth of tomorrow. But together, anything can be overcome. Together, stand. Look on the streets, tell me what you see. Another broken dream, now homeless, hungry. With problems all around us, how can they be solved? Searching for some answers, try getting involved. Stand and be counted, today's the day. Haste makes way, so be on your way. This world needs leaders and one can be you. Reach for the stars, cause dreams do come true. It's time to stand.
Stand and be counted.
The future's yours. It's time to
stand. The future is yours. Stand, stand, stand.
See the day, it's yours. It's time to stand.
Stand. Stand and be counted.
It's time to stand. It's time to stand.
The Children's Hour is a production of the Children's Hour Incorporated, public radio for kids and families. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Links, podcasts, and more are at childrenshour.org.
Thanks for being with us. We're going to go out with a little bit of this. This is from a CD called Let's Boogie. The artist is Rockin' Rainbow. And many thanks to Representative Liz Thomson for being with us on the show today, as well as our friends from Wild Friends, New Mexico.